I'm here in St. Louis for something other than Six Flags. However, while I'm here, might as well go. However, oh my gosh, I'm glad I'm only planning to spend a couple hours here, because this is looking like it's going to be a nightmare day. This is going to be fun just to watch it. See how quickly all the lines get to 3 hours. This is insane. Thankfully, with the way Six Flags does their system where you just walk on through, it only took 10 minutes to get through security. Mr. Freeze is open, and it says there's no wait. Yeah, in the middle, a few empty rows. The thing about these school days is that a lot of the groups, they have to kind of gather together and kind of get themselves organized before they head into the park, before they head deeper into the park past the entrance. So if you just get a move on quick, even though I'm 20 minutes late, it still will take a little bit longer for some of the groups to get back here. So with these nightmare school days, just lap as much as you can in the first hour or two before the massive amount of groups are all in the park. Here they come. Got 3 laps on Mr. Freeze in a half hour. Now heading over to the second best coaster in the park. This section of the park has really come alive. The new coaster and the 2 flat rides here. Screamin Eagle is riding amazing today if you ride on a non-wheel seat. I rode in row 5, got great airtime, and it had just the right amount of shakiness. And even with it being 2 hours in, American Thunder was only a 20-minute wait. Six Flags St. Louis just is so awesome at controlling crowds. You cannot say that for parks like Worlds of Fun, Silver Dollar City, even on days like this. I imagine that these lines are probably going to get really bad later, but Silver Dollar City on a Saturday with beautiful weather, doesn't matter if there's school groups or not, those lines are going to be super long immediately. But not here. You got time to get a lot done at this park, even with about 10,000 school buses out there. And especially since I'm not looking to spend all day here, only looking to spend 2 hours. In fact, I'm heading out right now. That was honestly one of the best rides I've ever had on American Thunder. Oh, go ahead. And I'll be back here tomorrow. Wow, what a difference a day makes. From Saturday to Sunday here, there is 1 school bus instead of 10,000. But still, I cannot believe how well they handled that kind of a massive crowd here yesterday. The longest line was the line to get through security, sort of. In fact, I checked back on queue times even though I was going to the show, and it doesn't look like the lines spiked all that much. They seem to handle big crowds here way better than parks like Over Texas, Great America, Holiday World, Hershey Park, Cedar Point, you know, the bad parks. This is a much better park than any of those. While I was in the area for a show, better go ahead and visit this park again before Cedar Fair decides to close it too. I was able to do 3 in a row on Mr. Freeze. 2 people stayed on the train that I got off. Both sides do launch backwards, and the back is definitely way better than the front. Not just for going higher up the spike, but also the forces are better back there. After doing 5 rides in a half hour on Mr. Freeze, did 4 rides in a half hour on American Thunder. It's built up a station wait. Actually, there's some empty rows now for the next ride. So a factor for this slow start is not only that it's a Sunday, but also it's Mother's Day. We had already planned to celebrate Mother's Day on a different day. So I just took advantage of it by coming here. This was a last-second decision to make this trip. I basically decided on Friday that I was coming up here on Saturday and doing the show and coming to this park. And of course, I would not have done that if we were planning to celebrate Mother's Day today. Just did 5 in a row on Batman the Ride in a little under a half hour. I did the very back row 4 times, and then I had to move up to the next last row for the 5th ride in a row. But no visit to Six Flags St. Louis would be complete without getting a ride on the best ride in the park. Obviously it's not, but I still think it's a good ride if you just keep your head forward. And I just did 5 rides on Screamin Eagle in about, I'd say about 40 minutes. So yeah, it's basically a walk-on. I did have to wait 1 train 1 time, no big deal. I have not ridden Boss. I could give it a shot because I am feeling good today, but I don't know. Do I really want to go out on that note? Because I do need to leave pretty soon. After those rides on Screamin Eagle, I think that's now my 2nd favorite in the park. On this visit, it moved from number 5 to 4 yesterday to 3 today, and possibly number 2. I never had it as my 2nd favorite in the park. I always had Mr. Freeze and American Thunder ahead of it. And American Thunder's still riding great, but Screamin Eagle is just phenomenal this weekend. If you're riding on a non-wheel seat, go for an odd number row. Why am I doing this to myself? Oh, the abomination. They're running just the 1 train empty, but they're filling the other train. I'm not sure why. After that ride, I am now a fan of the Boss. That was by far and away the best ride I've ever had on it. It was still rough. I still would like it to be a little less rough, but it was actually manageable. I did ride on a non-wheel seat. It was row 5, so maybe that's the key. I remember my first ride that I enjoyed on Great American Scream Machine, which actually there was only that 1 ride that I disliked on it, but that 2nd ride on Great American Scream Machine was in row 5. And the first ride that I've enjoyed on the Boss is in row 5. I actually kind of like the night rides that I've gotten on this too, but it was still too rough. I like the night ride aspect of it, but it was too rough. But today's ride was definitely manageable. I'm really glad that I decided to go for it. I've been trying for 9 years to get a good ride on the Boss, and it finally happened. So I don't know if they did a lot of work in the off-season, a lot of track work, but it definitely seemed way smoother, especially the first half. After that first drop, and then it rose up, that was like perfectly smooth. Then it started getting rough. And it was really only in that 2nd half that it got to be, that I would say, you know, I don't know if I would say too rough, but it would be too rough for a lot of people. It was enough that I could tolerate it. So who would have thought it? A ride that used to be my least favorite coaster I've ever ridden is now one that I actually quite enjoy. Oh, speaking of airtime, Boss, you might get 1 or 2 moments. It's nothing substantial, but really what this ride is about is the setting and the speed. It is an incredible setting, although I think Screamin Eagle has the better setting. I do think it's riding better today than it ever has for me, but also I did get a good night's sleep, so that probably had something to do with it too, and I was in a non-wheel seat. So I only had about 3 hours to spend here at Six Flags St. Louis, and in those 3 hours I got 25 rides, and then I ended up staying an extra half hour so I could get that ride on the Boss. That tells you just what kind of day this was here on Mother's Day. 25 rides in 3 hours. That's over 7 rides an hour. So another amazing day at the best park in Missouri, and one of the better Six Flags parks there is. And I truly do believe that. Very underrated, amazing setting, great ride lineup. Always enjoy my visits here. It is 2:30 or 2:40. All the rides are starting to build a little bit of a line, but still very manageable. So people celebrating Mother's Day have made it out here, it would seem, after going and spending way too much on their lunch because the restaurants jack up prices on Mother's Day. That's why we celebrate on a different day. So that's just another thing we do as a family. We don't fight the crazy crowds and the jacked up prices. We celebrate Mother's Day on a different day when the crowds are lighter and the prices are back to normal. And I did take the Mitsubishi Mirage on this trip, and it has been estimating me in the upper 50s for the entire trip. That is overestimating. I'm actually getting a little bit above 50 miles a gallon actual. I've done the calculations from my Phillips, and that's what it's been. One thing I forgot to mention about Six Flags St. Louis is that I got exactly 5 laps on all 4 of my favorite coasters at the park. American Thunder, Mr. Freeze, Screamin Eagle, Batman the Ride, and today I did 3 on Ninja, and I did 1 on River King Mine Train, Boomerang, and Boss. And yes, my Mitsubishi Mirage was my hotel for the night, and that's why I slept so amazing. And I was still able to get a shower because I'm a Planet Fitness member. In 3 weeks, I'll be leaving town to head out west for my really big trip. One of the more ambitious coaster trips I've ever taken. Going out to California and all the way up the West Coast, up to at least Portland, possibly even as far as Seattle, and then finally getting those parks that I've been missing, Silverwood and Lagoon. Of all the parks that I have yet to visit in the United States, those 2 are definitely the most notable. The only other thing I think that you could say is really notable is Nickelodeon Universe in New Jersey, but that's only if Sandy's Blasting Bronco and Shellraiser are open. Otherwise, it's just a minor park. But Silverwood and Lagoon, definitely major parks, and those have been on my list for a long time to visit, and it's hopefully finally going to happen. That is going to be in the 2nd week of a very ambitious trip.